Do you remember the early Ghost Recon 1 days when tactical strategic thinking mattered? You know, using the Tacmap to move your teammates around the map to execute your objective? How about having the ability to switch between teammates because you wanted to take a quick view of what your Overwatch team can see as your ground assault team are working towards the objective? How about the iconic mission briefs the early Tom Clancy games had, where you were given intel about your mission and you can see the map and make a plan in order to effectively and sufficiently execute all your objectives? Well, those days of the early Tom Clancy games seem to be over at Ubisoft. There is, however, an indie studio that has captured the great aspects of Ghost Recon 1 and Rainbow Six 3 and has made, in my opinion, one of the best single-player tactical squad games you can play on the market today. Now I say one of the best, not to give an impression that this early access title is a polished and finished product. It has improvements to make, but rather it has fundamental and advanced mechanics that you would expect from a tactical squad military game. They are mechanics that have been absent from Ghost Recon since Ghost Recon Future Soldier. I would even argue that Helio Studios, that is the name of the game developers of the game, has enhanced and improved upon what made Ghost Recon 1 great. I would go far as to call it a modern-day Ghost Recon 1 game. After putting in 40 hours to complete Part 1 of the campaign, I think it's a game that all Ghost Recon 1, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter fans should consider playing. And if you're a massive Wildlands and Breakpoint fan but haven't tried Ghost Recon 1 but always wanted to, you should also consider playing Black 1 Blood Brothers. With all that said, here are 10 things Ubisoft can learn from Helio Studios' Black 1 Blood Brothers. 1. The Tacmap. The Tacmap is one of the iconic signatures of what made Ghost Recon, Ghost Recon. Every Ghost Recon game should have it. But since the introduction of Future Soldier, Ubisoft wanted to introduce the franchise to the Call of Duty crowd. In Black 1 Blood Brothers, it would be extremely difficult completing a mission without it. Your team AI are solely dependent on your instruction and command. It's really satisfying splitting your team into an Alpha and Bravo team moving towards an objective. Perhaps one is a ground assault and the other is doing recon to support the ground assault team. You might be in a situation where you need to split your team into different locations. The game enables you to do that. The Tacmap isn't the prettiest map to look at, and I think a new design could be an added option into the game, but there are more tactical commands in the Tacmap than any Ghost Recon game, and even in one of my favorite Arma 3 mods for squad control. C2 Command Mod. If Ubisoft brought this feature back into the game, it would give the Wildlands and Breakpoint audience an experience what made the original so special. You can finish the game, I'm sure, without the Tacmap. But because this game forces you to play tactically, I would believe it would be very difficult to do so on other difficulties. 2. Mission Briefs. The structure of the game follows the early Tom Clancy format. Mission brief, equip equipment, infill, complete mission, exfil. Rinse and repeat. However, there is a sense of immersion that mission briefs have that I think tactical shooters need in order to have a Tier 1 operator feeling to the game. Black 1 Blood Brothers follows this format very well. My only criticism is that there isn't a voice over giving you a mission brief like in Ghost Recon 1.
South of Recon. 1st Armored is prepped to launch a major offensive as soon as the weather clears. We're sending you in now behind the Russian lines to disrupt communications before the attack. Latvia.
But for one man making this game, I think he's done one heck of a job. After all, the game is still in early access. Wildlands and Breakpoint try to do mission briefs in its open world, but Ubisoft have really watered down the feeling that you are a Tier 1 operator. It feels more like you're wandering around an open world map, completing objectives on a map with. On the dare occasion you would be briefed in Breakpoint, and in Wildlands Bowman would brief you, but it doesn't feel the same. The Tom Clancy games invented, if I'm not mistaken, mission briefs in tactical games, and they should bring them back with a more military tone. 3. Perma Death. This is one of my favorite features of completing the campaign, Perma Death. You have a squad of 10 Tier 1 operators from around the world completing 10 missions. There is a great care that you have for your team knowing that you could permanently lose them if you make a mistake. Your sentimental goal as squad leader is to infill, complete mission, and make sure your men are alive. It keeps the game intense and feels like you have all to lose if you are not strategic in your planning. In Wildlands and Breakpoint, it doesn't feel like that at all. In these massive open worlds, what do you really have to lose? A mission restart? Where's the excitement in that? Ghost mode in Wildlands is probably the best mode in these modern games, and I would invite it to be a permanent mode in an open world Ghost Recon game. but Ubisoft should consider Perma Death of squad mates because you do care more about your decisions and their well-being. 4. Switching players. Having the ability to switch from different players within your squad is what I would consider to be a fundamental mechanic in a squad-based shooter, and in a game like Black 1 Blood Brothers, it would be extremely difficult completing missions without it. I remember on one of the missions in the campaign, I had 2 groups of 2 teams doing recon over my ground assault team. Switching to my Bravo recon team, I was able to identify a hostile in the 2nd floor of a building. My Charlie recon team were out of view of this hostile, and not taking this hostile using Bravo team would have been detrimental to my Alpha ground assault team. Once the hostile was taken out and then another one that was in sight, Alpha team moved forward to take out remaining hostiles. I led my ground assault, clearing all buildings and taking the objective. Ubisoft should give us the player to switch players and consider the tactical advantage we doing so. Ghost Recon shouldn't be starring a Ghost lead, but rather the whole squad. I think the fan-favorite Wildlands would be a much better game, being able to play as Holt and Weaver while Nomad is supporting you on your mission. 5. Sandbox versus Open World. I think Black 1 Blood Brothers really shines because it's a sandbox and not a big open world. In my opinion, if Ubisoft wants fans to support the franchise in the long run, I would strongly suggest moving the game from an open world format back to Ghost Recon 1 sandbox style type of game. Very much similar to what you see in Black 1 Blood Brothers. Now, there are major misconceptions and ignorance in the Ghost Recon community on the differences between the two, so let me outline main differences. In an open world game, the developer tells you where your objective is and what mission you ought to do, not giving you the personal decision to tailor that mission or gameplay to your liking. A sandbox game can have open level maps like in Black 1 Blood Brothers. They can also include open world maps that are bigger like in Arma 3. But the difference is that you, the player, are given the decision through the use of in-game settings to play a mission on any map available in the game. If Ghost Recon is about Tier 1 operators, then the Ghost team should be traveling the world completing different missions. It was a breath of fresh air playing the 10 missions in Black 1 Blood Brother in different maps and environments. In one mission I infill onto an oil rig, the other I'm in the Middle East in a big open map with a town and insurgents. In another map I'm doing recon in the woods, identify targets in their safe house, and in another map I'm taking out hostiles at a university campus. Why does Ubisoft think we're content playing the same map over and over again? Some players like it, and I'm glad you guys enjoy the games. But we should have options to play the game in different environments, maps, locations with a variety of dynamic missions. It's so easy to spend hundreds of hours in an open world, but it doesn't equate to value you are truly experiencing compared to other worthwhile games in the genre. To me personally, I would rather have a 40-hour tactical experience with in-depth mechanics rather than 500 hours wandering around breakpoint, frustrating myself thinking how much Ubisoft put Ghost Recon to a breaking point. Ubisoft should strongly consider giving us a sandbox mode so that we can have the freedom to customize the games that we want while giving the open world community the game that they want to play. It worked incredibly well in Ghost Recon 1. Black 1 has kept that standard, and I hope to see more community content added into the game. 6. Dynamic missions and mission modes. This takes me to dynamic missions. Sandbox tactical shooters tend to have dynamic missions rather than fixed objectives. One of the greatest advantages to this is if you fail a mission in your next attempt, each mission objective moves around the map and you then need to replan your entire strategy. While playing Black 1, I was stuck on a mission for 7 hours simply because I struggled to think of completing the objective, and when I failed, I needed a new approach. Every time I restarted the level, it felt fresh and new, not completing the same repetitive way of completing a mission. It's beyond me why AAA studios think we want to be dictated how to do a mission even in an open world setting. Perhaps I want the mission objective to be different when I play it? Breakpoint does have rebel missions and that is a bit dynamic, but this is very different to what I described from a tactical sandbox game. In Black 1 Blood Brothers, the game has around 10 or more game modes that you can choose from using a variety of maps. For us solo players, this is incredible because you can play a mission that you always wanted to try. I was even surprised to see a game mode that I created in my head, but in the game, it's an actual mode. In this game mode, you're a captured soldier and you have to fight your way out of an enemy base. It sounds simple, and to be honest, I haven't played it yet. I've only played the campaign. But this is the tactical creativity that I love to see in Black 1 Blood Brothers, a creativity and passion that we have seen fade in the Ghost Recon franchise. 7. Tactical equipment. This was one of the most important features in Black 1 Blood Brothers. For each mission, you would need a squad mate to carry different equipment in order to complete a mission. This created a great dependency amongst your team AI that I have not experienced in another game. Not even in Ghost Recon 1. The dev really added an importance for having team AI and giving your squad purpose to the game. This was the first game that I experienced this. I was on the second mission of the campaign running around the whole map wondering what to do after killing everyone. When I tried to retrieve data from a laptop to complete a mission, I realized none of my squad had that equipment. Restarting the mission, I then had to equip a few of the team in order to complete the task. There was no hand-holding, but this was a feature I really appreciated. Another feature of the equipment in this game that I really enjoyed was having a K9 on the squad. In order to have a K9 on the squad, you need to give your team member the K9 equipment to have the dog on the field. In one mission, I learned that our K9 discovered minefields in a Middle Eastern map, taking out insurgents. Our K9 saved our team from dying, but unfortunately we lost 2 of men who walked on a mine because the K9 wasn't taking lead to our objective. If Ubisoft can create a game like Rainbow Six Siege, why is there so much creative tactical bankruptcy in Ghost Recon? They actually have the ability to add such things into the franchise. If Ubisoft were to look at Black 1 Blood Brothers' use of tactical equipment, it would add another layer to squad AI and completing missions. A. Mission structure. I don't know about you, but after a long day and week of work, I want my time to be respected when I want to relax playing a video game. It's one of the reasons I don't think tactical games should be in an open-world format. Mission brief. Infill. Completed objectives. Exfil. Rinse and repeat. Wait, where did I hear that before?
You're missing it. Most of what we do, what is it? Infill, hit target, exfil, mission complete, stir, rinse, repeat. Different.
There's a great sense of purpose and suspense when you watch the cutscenes of your squad hopping onto their air transport, sitting down in the helicopter of your squad moving to infill, and then you're in the mission. As much as I enjoy wandering around Wildlands and Breakpoint to some extent, I've lost so many hours driving and walking around just to get to an objective. There are times when I just want to do a mission and leave. Ubisoft should consider giving us a mode where we can have a sandbox experience that focuses on this mission structure. Let us feel like Tier 1 operators with a distinctive objective. 9. Realism. Black 1 Blood Brothers has a few things to tweak on the realism front, such as slowing down the speed of all NPCs and even you, the player. But the low time to kill is brutal in this game. If you make a mistake, it's easy to lose your squad if you're not careful. And you know what? The thrill keeps you on your feet and keeps it fun. Although the AI needs working on, there's a sense of loss that's always around the corner if you slip up. Unless you're playing Ghost Recon Wildlands Ghost mode, you don't get the opportunity to experience the sense of loss and anxiety if you make a mistake. Ghost Recon Breakpoint Spartan mod is the best addition to happen in the franchise in a long time. Ubisoft should consider bringing the hardcore elements of what makes a tactical shooter a tactical shooter. 10. Mods. We all know Ubisoft won't allow us to have official mods in the game, but they should add it in. Before playing Black 1 Blood Brothers, I downloaded 20+ maps onto the game and up to 10+ operator attire for my squad. Adding mods add much more value and longevity into a game. Making the game a tactical sandbox gives the player an ability to play different missions in different maps. You can't do that in an open-world game. You can do that in a sandbox game. Give us, the community, a sandbox mode along with mods so that the community can create maps and share them. Open-world games are fun for other genre of games, but for a tactical shooter, I believe this greatly limits what the player can do. Give us a sandbox mode. Give us mods. Black 1 Blood Brothers is off to a great start, keeping the spirit of Ghost Recon 1 alive. Is it too difficult for Ubisoft to do the same?